Hello all, welcome to this special panel discussion where we will be deliberating local politics in Victoria, especially with a focus on people from the Indian subcontinent, their political aspirations, work and representation. In our panel today we have Mr. Manoj Kumar, Councillor Imtaj Khan, Neeldhara Gadani and Mr. Arnav Sati. I will quickly give a brief intro of all. Manoj Kumar is a seasoned politician. He is the chairperson of Subcontinent Friends of Labour in Victoria. He was the candidate of Labour Party in state and federal elections. Councillor Imtaj Khan, he represents Harrison Ward. He was first elected to council in 2012. He is the Urban Futures Portfolio holder and deputy chair for the Future Focused Economic Portfolio and for the Tourism and Major Events Portfolio. Neeldhara Gadani is contesting from Mahoney's ward in White Horse Council. She is a committee member of the White Horse Business Group, who is a qualified childcare educator and a trainer. A small business owner with extensive experience across a range of community services. She has recently volunteered to work with the DHHS. Arnav Sati, he is a community advocate based in Thane, who is quite vocal on infrastructure issues in the Melbourne's West, particularly Wyndham. Arnav contested the last state election in 2018 as an independent candidate, and since then he has been continuously advocating on local community issues. Many thanks to you all for joining us. We will discuss about the local council elections and provide the candidates an opportunity to talk about their candidature and political perspective. And apart from my introduction, I think it will be good that people hear from you about your Australian political journey or story. So if I can start with you, Manoj, first, if you can talk about what has been your political journey.
Vikrant, I started my politics in 2009 in Australia, joining Labour Party, and I have contested what you said rightly, 2 elections, one state and federal, and I'm here to give some more commentary on council election for which you have called me. And in my opinion, this forum should be seen as a positive platform where the people who wants to contest council election and contesting, they should get encouragement. They could see that where they should do something more, where they are lagging, what could be the right direction. So I think that this is a good platform, and I'm really proud to be here among you. Thank you.
Thanks, Manoj. And I'll now move on to Imtaj Khan. Again, he is a sitting councillor. He's been for 2 terms and he's just announced his candidature for the next term as well. So Imtaj, more about you.
Thank you, Vikrant. Look, thank you for having me on your panel. I think it's a great way of engaging community and letting know what are the role and responsibilities of as elected as a public officer in any council. Now, regarding the council elections, yes, I got elected in 2012 and then second term 2016. Currently, as you said, that yes, I am serving as a portfolio holder for Urban Future, which is financial long-term planning. Just as you mentioned now, what is a journey? I think I just like to say that it has been a good adventure for serving the community and obviously raising the public issues. But as you go along, you know, from the outside, it looks very different. When you go inside, the roles are totally something you find very challenging. And it's not about you can do so many things. Sometimes people, in my view, they get confused. They're talking about state issues, federal issues, and they don't understand what the councillor's role is. So can I just say that the council role is road, rubbish, and a rate. So road is a local roads, not a state roads. Rubbish, the garbage truck comes and collect in the morning and then obviously go to the tip. And the rates, which is the rate payers of the city you live, the council you belongs, and they are responsible as a local authority collecting your rates and then providing the in return services such as parks and the collection of rubbish and providing some other services, you know, sports facilities and community infrastructure. But councils are quite often limited resources and they rely on ratepayers' money. And as in other countries, such as not in Australia, the government quite often give funds directly and do not give funds to the council. But here it's quite often you get very less funds, and it's all you have to manage within your ratepayers funding.
All right, thanks, Intaj, for giving us a kind of a brief overview of what is involved in a council election. So I'll move on to Neil Dhara and ask about her story, and she has been doing some fine work. So Neil Dhara.
Thank you very much, Vikrant, for inviting me here, and I'm so glad and feeling great to be part of this amazing panel today. I'm living in the city of Whitehorse with my family, with 2 boys, and I'm being part of the community from a long time. As I think there is one way to get involved and to understand what your community needs, to be part of the community, not sitting outside or somewhere, but being there, stand with them and doing, being part of the work. It is very important to understand whether you can move to the next step or not. So that's what I'm working from a long time, and I'm not only our community but many other different communities with a different ethnic background and different people and with different projects, not only one project. So that helps me to understand what council is looking for first, because I was not I ran for council election in 2016. That was my first step in politics, I must say, and it was amazing experience in terms of getting understanding of where I need to work more if I want to get in the council. There is a different other steps which as a candidate we need to do that. So before I was working with community, I continue work with community even after the election finish, and I will keep doing that. Absolutely. Now, running in city of Whitehorse, I'm running in Whitehorse Council, and it's called Mahoney's Ward. As we all know, council wards things change this year. And before I run for Morak Ward, and I'm continuing the same thing with my community. I didn't change anything. I didn't change because of I'm running from Mahoney's Ward, which I was before as well. So I'm the same part of the group. But this time they changed, so the ward name is Mahoney's, which is a smaller part of, now they actually create 11 ward now in the city of Whitehorse. So I'm there, and my house is just belongs to that ward, and I'm so glad that I'm going to represent a neighborhood and people who's surrounding, living closer to me. So it was a great experience, and I will continue to work. And as I completely agree with Intazi, it's very different when you are standing out, when you are right now as a candidate, when you get in to the council, it is very different experience. But this time, I think it's very, very, I think it's the training, what local government, they ask to candidates to do that and go through that thing. It's very great, very good, because we don't have that before. And still there are lots of questions, but because of this training, and there are lots of platforms where you understand if you win, what will be what they are looking for from you. So you need to get ready for that. And and Intazi, you are very much you very much correct that there are lots of things you need to put lots of effort, lots of reading, and so this is who I am. And I'm just going to talk more about myself and what I'm standing for, and more other things in this discussion soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neil Dhara. So last but not least, I would like Arnav to talk a bit about his answers.
Look, thanks, Vikrant, for inviting me. Look, I would rather call myself, an honest transport activist, who's been pretty much advocating for transport and infrastructure-related issues in Melbourne's West, pretty much Wyndham, as you have, rightly mentioned. I did contest 2018 state elections as an independent candidate, and since then, I have been actually constantly advocating on, transport issues, infrastructure issues, and other local issues. And I've had some wins, pretty much through collaborative advocacy, with others. We've been able to get around 500 new car parks at Tarney train station. we have actually had some additional bus services put on to the existing routes, and one major other thing was actually fast tracking of hoppers crossing, railway crossing removal. So through continuous advocacy, there have been some wins in the last 2 years. And look, the way I see it is, like, I campaign on issues with my heart and soul into it, and I'm actually fearless in challenging authorities when I don't get an honest answer, or the answer is actually inaccurate. And it's pretty much because over the last, like, I came to Melbourne as an international student, and I've worked as a business analyst, across multiple domains. Right now, I'm actually based at University of Melbourne in Parkville campus, and I've worked in domains ranging from health, education, justice, super, finance, emergency services, telco, utilities, transport. So there's a wide variety of domain knowledge, or the generic knowledge which I possess around how a lot of these sectors actually work. And being a business analyst, when I actually approach a solution, approach an issue or a problem, there is a bit of inherent knowledge which is actually available with me because of my previous work. So look, putting it straight, I consider myself as as a community advocate who is basically advocating on issues, and will continue to do it regardless of whatever the election results are.
Great, thanks for that, Arnav. And I can see from your page that you have been very actively putting out your voice in the community, and that's a kind of good thing to use social media in the best possible manner. But before we delve into the deeper issues surrounding the local election, I would ask Mr. Manoj Kumar to provide an overview of local council elections. And I'll always fall back on Mr. Manoj because he is the most seasoned politician and a veteran politician here who has a vast experience. So Manoj, what do you have to say about the local council elections?
I'm the person who was very much involved when Intaj contested first council election and Gautam Gupta contested. And in the first try, subcontinental people got two new councillors in terms of Intaj and Gautam Gupta. The question is that what I'm seeing, people think council election means something different. They don't, whoever wants to contest council election, they should go and first understand and see what is the role of councillor and what is the role of local government, how you are going to add value, how you are going to brand your council and ward, how you are going to help and benefit the local people. People think in the different way. Instead of branding the council and local people, they started branding themselves. They started thinking benefit for them rather benefit of local people. So these are the, like, when you become a candidate, you have to think in that way, how you are going to benefit them, how you are going to brand them. One thing. Another thing I saw, people are contesting in western suburb, and they are like, even social media, they are putting in Pakenham, like Indian community group. My dear friend, where is your local community group? Where you're like, you are contesting in the area, you must go to that people, talk to them, what is their problem, what are the, like, council right, what Khan Saab said. You compare all these things, what are the work comes under council, and then talk. I saw somebody was writing, this is, and he is now council candidate. This $4,000 for people coming from overseas and going in quarantine, they have to pay, this is no good and all that. And they started petition on that. But do you think that immigration issue is the council issue? No. Anybody is going to vote for that? No. So you have limited time and resources. Where you have to put your resources, and you must know what could be your responsibility, and then contest. Win and lose is different thing, but you know what you have to do and what you are going to do. Like a normal work, you know your KPI for the council. So these are the things I think whoever contesting, they must look into this, and that's fair. These are the things is important.
Great, thanks, Manojji. I think on that line, I'm going to ask, in fact, the three council aspirations that you have about standing at the moment. You have been really working hard for that. But for Neil, Dhara, Arnav, and Intaj, what for you are the key issues at the moment in your council? So maybe you can start with introducing which ward you are standing from, so that people are aware that that's the particular ward you are from. You have already discussed a little bit about that, but again, this time I'll start first with Arnav, and if you can talk about your ward and the key issues that you're working on.
Yep. Cool. Laura. Look, I'm actually standing from Sheffield Ward, in the Wyndham Council. And when I see, at the issues, there's actually a range of issues, both within the ward and at the council level at the same time. So within the ward, pretty much Tarnet North and Tarnet and Hoppers Crossing, transport, as I said, you've mentioned, is actually a vital issue, where, new train stations are, there's actually a good amount of advocacy required to get the new train stations through, adequate parking, bus routes with improved frequency, so that's pretty much transport. But then apart from transport within the ward, we actually have got like unmaintained parks, pathways, roadworks takes forever, traffic lights, they take months to get installed. These are like common sightings pretty much in the last 4 years. So anyone who's actually living in the ward, would actually agree with me. Like even for the very basic things, it's actually very delayed pretty much in this ward. I don't know why, but at the overall council level, I would, I definitely see transparency, accountability, and pretty much a style of autocratic decision making within the council itself. So I'll put it this way: for in last 4 years itself, we actually have Tarnet Road duplication and Eagle Stadium leaking roof as major debacles. Where millions of dollars of ratepayers were wasted. We have seen council buying pub and subsidizing hotel using ratepayers' dollars. Then that is not free money. And we've recently seen a local stadium getting approved without even a tender coming out to the market. So for me, these are like, issues. We actually have got a range of issues, both at the specific ward level and also at the council level, because you need to actually have some core values across the council to deliver for residents or ratepayers. So it is both within the ward and also at the council level.
Thanks a lot, Arnav. I think those are very key points that you just mentioned. And Intaj, I'm going to put this next question to you to talk more about these issues. And you have been probably, dealing with some of the issues which Arnav is talking about. And have you faced some roadblocks, or do these issues, did this figure in your key areas or not?
Look, when you become a council, you pretty much represent everyone, just not the one ward. You decided to go for the ward anyway. Look, what Arnav have said, that some of the things are definitely need more improvement, and there's always room for improvement. But in my legacy, in starting 2012 and until now, I set up a few programs, such as we were in particular myself and Gautam Gupta in previous term, we were very vocal about Indian culture precinct. That's something the Labour government in 2014, when Daniel was first time get elected, he promised to us, and we received a funding from the Labour government, $500,000, come to the council. So this is the beauty of how you receive funding as a community work. A lot of community members, including Manoj and other people, have supported the project. Look, there need to be an Indian culture precinct in Wyndham as well as in Dandenong. So we've been successfully working as a team, and we achieved it. Finally, they announced that yes, we're going to do it in Wyndham, followed by then Gautam Gupta definitely have lost election in last term. So we pretty much are happy to say that, we lost a kind of bit of support and misunderstanding of the other councillors, and that the issue was it's pretty much now watered down completely. And I was extremely vocal about it, and our MLC member, Shelley, I met a number of times. I've told her, look, what is about this thing? You've been as a what we call that, as a working advisor to the multicultural minister previously. Anyway, she have tried it, whatever she could have done it for it. And now the community tried it now, but unfortunately, the bottom line is the project didn't get up in Wyndham. So if you want to say there was the biggest challenge, I have seen it. We worked really hard. It didn't get up. Even community member worked it. And I was extremely vocal about it. I was suspended for 4 weeks. why you're raising this issue, things like that. So this is the things when it's a good way of those people who want to become a councillor. You got to stick to your goal, and it cannot be political. When you say something, I want to do it, you got to consistent do it. I would have an option, I keep quiet, but I was stick to it. And obviously I got a reward as suspended 4 weeks. Now moving forward, now there's a number of other issues when you become a local councillor. You actually see community from the different side of things and what communities is struggling it. So for example, now COVID-19 have actually affected everyone's life. I've been approached by a huge number of people, number of community members. What about the rebate? Because every government doing rebate, state government, federal government, what about the local government? End of the day, you're representing a government in a smaller area. Imagine if you are not looking after your ratepayers, when they need it, I think it is something about being as elected member. So we raise notice of motion 10%. And funny thing was, I was strong enough, brave enough to bring it. They didn't like it, my fellow councillor, which is they have a right to not to vote for it. And obviously I only got myself vote. No one voted completely. Was lucky enough to be debated in chamber. Then I bought again. Next month I was constant, I was fighting it, $100 for everybody. Then there's a 3 councils supported, and it's still the other council didn't support it. So this is a journey. When you become a councillor, you become a leader, and you run with your goals and benefit for the community. It's not about you, it's about the community. And that was didn't pass, but then I was thinking, if you're not going to pass it, I'm going to bring in another one. So then we have worked together. Now we have passed, not the 100%, not the 10% for everyone, but we have passed, we achieved now $100 for the job keeper and $50 for the pensioners. Look, this is not a great victory, I'll call it, but at least something's better than nothing. And there was a council who didn't vote it for it. So you go through the frustrations when you come back home, who you're fighting with it, you really get frustrated when people can't even afford to pay. A ratepayers give a discount for $100. These are things. Moving forward, I think, once you become a council, you also have understanding what are the other projects in your local area running it. Apart from the issues, there is a lot of things you can do it if you're working in a team or you have your colleagues on the same page. For example, now that Werribee East Werribee East Employment Precinct, which is meant to be a education city, was a good project. The vendor from a Chinese origin background, he really worked hard with the state government. Somehow project didn't work out, it's going to fall over now. So I'm advocating now, we can make that innovation and startup city. My idea is now we can make that city as a startup city, so where government can have a couple of buildings with cheap rent built by local government or state government, and then allow new businesses. Because I'm really worried about life after the COVID-19, the business after the COVID-19. We just can't think present, but we also need same time to think the future. So these are the things you actually being as a councillor go through every time you think, what's going to happen after COVID-19. And being as a business background, it gives you an opportunity to put your motions, you understand a bit more. And I think it's a lot of challenges, but it's a very low pay salary occupation compared to state government and federal government. And I'm glad that Manoj is not contesting for the local election, because it won't be enough to pay his car bills, the car fuel and to pay all other bills, because it's a very low salary. It's only $30,000 maximum in the Wyndham City Council. So people must listen that it's not something you're going to get $100,000 or $200,000 or $400,000. And obviously, though, the absolutely transparency, you do not have any privilege. You don't get a PA, you don't get a car, you don't get red light and things like that, people might think. But this is definitely purely council as a community work. And technically, they say that you need to work as a part-time. You're allowed to work as a full-time and doing as a business and as well as a 9-to-5 job. But I think you have really struggled to balance the both things, and you need to put a lot of hours. I would say you'll be working pretty much in a week 60 to 55 hours a week to get the balance right here.
All right, thanks for that insight and Taj. So I don't think that you are insinuating in some way that it is a game only for millionaires there. You must be talking about people need to really invest themselves in it. So probably
Yeah,
people think it's a social work, and that should be the main thing. So
absolutely.
moving on to now Neeldhara and her perspective on her, which is very different from West.
Yes, absolutely. It's very different from West, and I must say, it's all the council is working very differently as per their demography. City of Whitehorse Council, and I really would like to talk about the ward which I'm standing for in, and the issues which where what I'm passionate about. Not only one thing, I'm passionate about three things actually, and I think that passion will help me to, of course it helped me to manage that issue, but I'm not going to close myself to just for that particular issue, but because of there are many communities and they have many issues, so I'm absolutely open to help, and I'm open to work with that. So, but as we talk about our passion, as we talk about what issue I will work for, and I'm standing for, is one is like everyone has, but I'm very passionate about to work with the sustainability and the environmental issues. Then sustainable housing, which is one of my area where I'm living. It's one of the issue or one of the things which people are really looking for candidate to work or be part of that. When I'm talking about sustainability, it's one word, but there are many layers, many small things. It's a foundation where I'm talking about the foundation thing, which is very small thing, like you talk about when you talk about sustainability, you talk about the affordable housing, you talk about the even how local people, the local housing, how they are doing, what they are looking for. So specifically when I'm talking about the Mahoney's ward, which we have a beautiful open space, lots of open space. We have amazing schools here, and houses are pretty much good size, and the not multiple buildings and all stuff. So here my community and the Mahoney's ward, my community is looking for something will we maintain, the candidate actually maintain that character of this particular area. And I love open space in many ways. First is because I have family. I know that how much it's important to have a beautiful things outside like trees and other things, which is very important for our for councils to just to make sure that we maintain that. So that's one of the thing. Definitely it also come under the environmental protection and all stuff. I'm very much close to work with the the sports clubs and open space like ground, and there are many other things which is also come under that. So I'm working with many groups like that, where who protect or who like candidate to work in that particular area to maintain that things, or come up with a new idea. Like when we talk about sustainability, there are many things which we can bring new ideas to make sure that we are not, it's not about people not going to build a house, it's not about people not going to it's not going to happen. But when we are proposing something which we need to as a candidate, I will make sure that that what I'm passionate about, I will find a way that we can balance that. And that's one of the things which I'm very much my ward is also looking for. I have my small business, so I'm completely understand as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, how difficult it is. Anyway, it's not COVID, but before it's running that that things is very difficult. So here I will, and my ward is one of the things like I have two big one is a forestal chairs which come under the Mahoney's ward. So it's a it's a like a shopping center, it's big. And then we have a small they have their own small area shopping place. So, and there are many other businesses are here, so I will definitely looking for to support the small business for sure. And there are many things council can do in that. So that's one of the things which I'm passionate to work, because I have experience, I go through that, so I know that how it can how people can feel that about. And it's very important. I always believe in that. You just stand in that, there where they are, if they have a problem, just be there and then feel that how it's going, and then you can also find a different way. Another thing which I want to address, that as a counselor, I completely believe in that you are not going to focus. We are going to focus on what community is looking for, what they are what they ask me to do, that to represent them in the council. So that will be always my first priority, to listen to them and help them in my whatever I can do that. So I will definitely focus on that first. Then other thing, many issues, I'm not in the council, but big issues I'm talking about, it might happen after COVID-19, which will be, I think, everyone is focusing on how they will support community after COVID-19, when we finish this, or after even stage 4, what will be next. So everyone is looking for that, and I will support council, or I will support that issue whenever it comes to the after COVID-19, whether it's a rate paying, if council is already doing something. But I completely believe that we need to continue until for a little bit longer time, because there are many people is without job, business are suffering a lot. So I think rate is one of the things which I will definitely have, I will definitely stand for that particular issue with my community and help them out too, and ask if we can continue that support system a little bit longer. Depends on how we are working here. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Needhara. And Intaj has done some commendable job in getting some rate reductions in his council. So that's good that most of you are thinking in the same way of how COVID-19 has impacted our community, and how it also is a requirement and a kind of position that we need to strongly take to support the local community much more during these unprecedented times. So now I'm going to ask you some quick questions, and I'm going to get a response from all of you. And these are some of the things that, as someone from the Indian subcontinent, for me also, it really bothers me. Having political aspiration is not bad. Getting into politics or being into community service is not a bad thing. It is all the best thing. But the way we have seen, especially in the Indian-dominated councils in and around Melbourne and Victoria, is that suddenly there is a mad rush of candidates. Everyone is throwing their hat into wanting to be a councillor. So I'm seeing people who have never engaged in local politics and just coming up in last 2 or 3 weeks just to announce their names, or they're playing their own trumpets on social media, but not having that really work to back them. So is this an appropriate way to want to represent people? What do you think, Manoj? Like, is this the right way, or do we think, are we going to support as a community to someone who are wanting a shortcut, rather, I would say?
I think first of all, people should understand the roles and responsibility what council has to do and how they should act being a councillor, because they must know. And you might have seen lot of people, they win the council election, even the next door people don't know them. Lot of people, like, the question is that I saw a lot of people, they wanted to become a council candidate, and they were just distributing mass for 2-3 days. Somewhere the food distribution is there, whether they are really distributing or they went and took a photograph, putting on social media. The question is that if you do something, you are helping the people, but in the return you are not asking something, and then it is really you are working for the people. But you are just putting something, and next day you are putting, I am the council candidate for this area because 5 days ago I distributed the food. I want to become a council candidate and I am nominating because few days ago I have distributed some masks, I made some things, I have done some volunteering work. I remember I went to ask ticket for some election, and I told I have done this much work. Then the boss immediately they asked, Have you done this work for just contesting the election? So these are the few things makes subcontinental people to understand how we behave. If we want to contest the election, yes, we should be open, we should go to the people, what Neil Dara, try to understand their problem, try to listen to them and work in the community. There is no, whether you lose or win, there is no limit of doing good work. Like I lost the election, but nobody can stop me going outside the parliament and raise the voice of people. Yes, I can't raise inside the parliament, but I can raise outside the parliament. So there is no limit of doing good things. So my question, I'm concluding, if you are a council election, be in that people, rather, on the Facebook and the Facebook, yes, in your local area, like a WhatsApp group people are running. If it is a WhatsApp group of your local people who are voter, fine, helping you. But if it is a WhatsApp group like all over Melbourne, it's not going to help you. So these are the things council election, council candidate has to understand, and they have to, this is called behave well. I mean, you are just working today and tomorrow you are expecting something from the community. This is not a good, this shows that you are not trying to serve them, you are trying to serve yourself. You are trying to brand yourself. So that's I can say about that.
Thanks, Manoj. And I'll move to Arnav. What is your view on this thing? And again, you have been working, so you can.
Yep. See, I think what happens is, there's a few points out here. The first thing is genuine advocacy takes a lot longer. It takes a lot of time of your daily routine. It is a lot more than a social media post. And that is where a lot of people, fail to, to actually understand when they stand for council elections or things on those lines, that genuine advocacy is not about standing somewhere with a photo and putting it on the social media and it goes viral. There's a lot of letters you got to write to MPs, there's a lot of questions you got to ask to the council, there's a lot of hard work and time which goes at the back end. So when people who are not that genuine, or I'll rather call them as seasonal candidates. So when these seasonal candidates actually stand out of a ward or, in a council's elections or even in state elections, what they do is, they pretty much negate a lot of genuine work which has been done by a lot of people. So I'll give you an example, right? Let's say in Thanet, pretty much in the last 2 years, I've been talking a lot on transport, be it trains, buses, stations. And now suddenly 3 months before, every, person with a dog who's actually standing in the state elections is talking about transport. Like, where were they for the last bloody 2 years? You got to be constant, you got to be genuinely interested in issues that you plan to advocate for, or you want to solve for the community. So that's one part, which is genuine advocacy. The second thing is merit. Merit is actually really important when it actually comes to council elections, because as Manoj Ji and Intaj actually mentioned, you should be aware of what is the role of a council, or what a councillor can do strategically, and who actually implements a council plan which is set for next 4 years. I actually doubt if you ask half the people who are standing in the council election, say they won't even know there's something called as a council plan which is set up for the next 4 years, which is actually a pity. Like, I'll give an example. Like, very recently it happened in Wyndham. We had budget submissions, and we had one candidate in Wyndham who's actually he's actually standing for the second time in council elections, predominantly from Indian subcontinent. And in a budget submission where it's pretty much about what is that you want, what is the business case, and how much money do you want, he started reading his own manifesto, election manifesto, for the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So, it's like you're actually representing, if you talk about Indian community, you're actually representing the entire subcontinent in front of a wider community, and you're talking on things which makes no sense. Like, why would someone talk on election manifesto on a budget submission? Just talk to the point. So merit is one other thing which is really important. And I'll come back to a point which Manoj Ji raised, which is a really good point. Look, people doing food distribution things and those. Look, I hate to say on record, but I don't think there's any other candidate in Sheffield ward who actually has donated more than what I've donated in social causes in last 1 year since the COVID actually has started. Or, not a broad statement, but look, what I'm saying is I've actually donated, pretty much in tens of thousands, not tens, like something around on those lines, in charity. You will not find a single post. I challenge anyone in the election to say I've ever posted a single thing on any charity I've done in last 1 year or since COVID actually has started. So it's all about genuine advocacy, merit for the candidates, and pretty much an appropriate representation of the community, in front of a broader community, because you don't want to be seen as stupid people, not stupid, that's a wrong statement. You don't want to be seen as incompetent when it actually comes, or unaware when it actually comes to contesting for elections or knowing about your local issues. Like, I'll give an example. Someone closely related to, some, what do you say, some secure, like, crime-based thing, actually recently, again, a candidate actually asked council, what's the number of FTEs, police FTEs increased in the last 1 year? Well, the reality is, if you've been advocating on crime, just go to the police website, Victoria Police website. It quarterly produces the stats on what is the FTE. You don't actually have to waste council's time to actually ask a question which is actually there online. So just trying to make an image for an election and disappearing after the election is done, that is utter nonsense to me. And it really impacts genuine advocates. I'm not saying I'm the only advocate. There are a lot of other genuine advocates in Sheffield Ward, which you see before elections, after elections, and even when there are no elections, right? But there are plenty of candidates, I don't understand why they just put their hands up.
All right, thanks for that, Arnav. And two important points that you have mentioned about merit and competency. So I'll put this question to Neil here about merit and competency and people coming out of nowhere and wanting to show their meritocracy or competency in 2 weeks to contest for the elections. What's your take?
I really want to. I agree with few things. And look, in this situation, that people know very well who you are, what you are doing. Absolutely, I don't have a doubt in people. Thought they know where you are standing, what you are doing, whether you are putting in social media or not. I want to, it's not about, I can't say that people are putting in social media which is not good or which is good. Right now, the situation where every candidate, no matter what, there is only way you can connect with people by social media. That's only the thing. So people are putting that outside, what they're doing, and how long they are doing. So you need to maintain that, consistency in you, that you're not just doing in 2 weeks. So I'm not okay. And now here, I'm not okay. I'm not talking about the 2 weeks person. I'm still talking about everyone. The people who need to have, they are working. They're putting in social media or not, that's fine. But that people, we all know who they are, how they are working. So that's one thing. Merit is absolutely important. I also understand that many people, they are not interested. They just want to be there. They don't know what is the council plan, what is budget, how to connect with the community. They don't know. They're just putting, and we all know who are they. People doing social work, people putting out when you're putting in social media, I see as a person who's putting that social media. If this person is putting, then it's all good, because I understand that, which community is doing what. That information is also helped us to connect with someone else. So putting in social media, I don't feel that it's bad, but who is putting, that is important. If someone is doing food, that's also fine. There are many information will help me to connect with the people who don't know that this is all going on, and it's only by social media. Yeah, so I'm always supporting to genuine and right people, and the people who is doing right work and consistent work. Consistency is so much important, and we know who's consistent, who's not. So if someone is doing, because we are talking about the food, so if someone is doing food, how long that person is doing, and it just only appear in this 2 weeks? No, that person is doing, and that information helping me to connect with the person who is actually looking for, that person is not connected with the social media. So every information we as a candidate, as a community member need to understand how you're taking that social media information. And people who is not in social media but they are doing good, like Arnav says that he did something but he didn't put in social media, that's all good, and I know that now I know that he did it. So every information how you are taking, it's very important. Positive, who is just coming up as a just 2 weeks thing, or who is working from long time. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm very much positive about people right now. Everyone is talking about social media. I'm putting everything in social media because there is no other way. There is only the way we can do that.
I'm just wanting to talk more about that perspective from Intaj, and then I'll have one more last question before we end this session because we are also short of time. So, Intaj, again, I would, in fact, from you, I have a certain expectation in terms of you trying to some way also guide people who are coming into these elections and wanting some kind of guidance, and especially with the migrant people and the new migrants, especially for them, lots of times things are not very clear and they think that these elections are somewhat like elections in India. So what has been your experience? You have been meeting people from various parts, and then I'll ask the same question from Manoj about his experience of this kind of understanding between India and Australian politics.
Thank you, Vikrant. I think my experience is, I think this is a very serious role. And in order to serve the community, understand, a candidate must, in my view, start 5 to 6 months before. If they have not been involved in the past, that's maybe that could be personal reasons, or maybe they're busy. But if they're genuine candidate, and that's what I say, they should enroll 5, 6 months before. So they have enough time. There may be a good people from business background. They might not have a time for community work and things like that. Because council is all about the mixed skills and sets of other knowledge. So a lot of people just coming 2 weeks before. I think everyone have a democratic right. And if they would trying, I would say they're not going to win it. Now, in order to win an election, it takes a lot of things behind. It takes a good preparation. It takes a good amount of the community work, strategic planning, understanding the ward you're standing in. For example, let's be honest anyway, and I'll put on a record now. You got to think what kind of your person and who you attracting it. I just received a phone call, I can't say who. I was telling someone, look, you're standing in this ward. Why you're standing? The guy simply says that, or you get elected because there's a 4 position, so you get 1 and I get 2nd. So their understanding is like handing, it's a lottery. You just put an application form. So, and I'm sure one day the Victorian government will wake up and put the raise up. The fees is $250. So it's kind of a bit of a better investment in getting popularity back in home in Australia and also back home if there's a newspaper writing articles. But technically, it's a very serious affair. So you really need to work 5, 6 months. You need to have the funds of planning when your brochure is going to go out, and your photo have to be looking decent and good. And also you need to have that a relationship with the existing councillor. It will help you to understand what thing you should be saying but not saying it. I cannot make a name. Some people just come out with good ideas and then maybe the heart mean that. But if they put a contact and the picture on Facebook and say, I will do this, people just laughing it. And I like to also say that since we are a migrant coming from South Asian community, I think people expectations become twice double. And genuinely, we come from the background where elections been practiced in different style, different model, and we all know that how elections works in the back home. And here, some candidates trying to do exactly the same thing here, which is not fit for that environment. So to become a successful candidate, I think you got to work on policies. Identify what policies are, and especially policies like that you can make a difference. Don't go out, don't make big promises. The promises you cannot deliver. So for example, bus shelters is a good way, small roads, the park, the indoors. For example, in my ward, there is a genuine issue with one of the satellite of red light in Snides Road and Point Cook Road. On top of that, there are many candidates who are running for the ward and don't know yet what boundaries are. So you get to know, sit down, get a map of your ward and go and familiarize with every single street. Possibly, I would say, drive a car surrounding and have a look what are the genuine issues. Just not listen to the people. You go yourself and see that, and you find there's many issues on the street. There's a bus shelter's not there, community center's not there, and indoor swimming pools, things like that with the community. And then definitely joining such a group like a community groups, because in Wyndham City Council, there's many groups, whether the Indian group or mainstream group they have. I think they will criticize you a lot. And I do get myself criticized because we've been incumbent in two terms. So people just go crazy on you. But in a way, they also sometimes when they write a comment, they're saying this thing, how are you going to do it? So now, for example, now I say 10% vote. Some people say, yes, 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 great idea. Some, no, it's a vote grab. So things like that, you have to be nice and respond it and reply. And there are some people and their friends are making comment on you through the social media. So you've got to be very calm and cool and giving a response what is need to be responded. So this is my observation. And I think to be a great candidate, this is, I would say, and look, what I have to say one thing about, I don't know now, I've seen him personally myself. He's been great advocate for his area, and the people like him who have genuine interest in the politics, whether he get elected or not is entirely up to the people. But I can see that this guy is there asking every OCM questions, but there are such candidate who just 2 weeks before, and they're not having a stand. So if you ask them, what is your view on 10% rate cut? They don't talk about it. If you get elected, this is Mr. Khan going to push agenda. He's going to go for 10% rate cut. Are you going to vote or not vote? Even though it's not your issue. So I think having a clear policy, you don't need a big policy, it makes you a really stand out. And I think people, I would say it's a serious affair. And people need, if you want to win, you maybe put 6-7 months, a trial, good campaign, good marketing. And I would say people should hire some managers and, policy. There's a lot of people in the community and those people working in the politics, such as Manoj and, other people, regardless of which side of the politics is. But I think getting understanding of, and it's not instant, you put it $250 your application, you're going to get a become councillor. But I think it's about persuading people. I like to say, and finish my word, I met someone, a very senior politician. He said to me, it's not about how many votes you receive, it's about how many people are persuaded on your policy, on your agenda. And it's not about win and lose, it's about how many people you have let it believe in your policy. And it's a great honor. Those people who vote for, doesn't matter how many votes you're going to get it, that means they have believed on your policy. So you've got to be clear on your policies and have agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Intaj. Now I'll move to Manoj and his point of view on this.
Vedant, what Intaj has said, it's like, I'm truly agree that the politics of this country is totally different what politics happening in the other part of the world back home. I will give you an example, and I think this is the next council from White Horse Council, it's in Murunda Council. One of the candidate, councillor, he was the federal member of parliament for Labour Party, Mike Simon, from 2006 till 2013. I think 2 terms, 2007 to 2000. And then he lost, and then he became councillor. He was deputy mayor also. So you can think how great people are in the council, and you have to deal with them. You will get an opportunity to learn with them. It is not what 2 weeks like, before council I am nominating and put on the Facebook and 1,000 people are liking it and sharing it. I see a lot of people, they are getting 1,000 like in the Facebook, and in council election they got 100 votes. I got surprised. At least those who liked you, they should vote for you. So these are the things, and totally different. So what Intaj said, like in $200, you want to put your branding up, and people back in India and other places in the newspaper, they will know about you. If you want to do that, there are a lot of various ways. Make some good article, do some good debate, people will know you. Rather, don't spoil the name of the community, because South Asian community has been known very good community, very skilled community, very capable community in terms of research, science, doctor, professor, academia. So in politics also, we should be known very competent, very effective, efficient, and good caring for the people. Our identity should be that, not our identity like, today we are doing some work serving, and next day I'm asking people to, nominate me for the council. This is no good. Serving is not bad. Doing the work is not bad, but in return next day you are asking something. It's really Australia works on matching. Do you think that before we were here, this country were not working, and people were looking after in this country before also? They are helping each other. This is the culture, this is the way of living in this country. So you don't need to show that you are doing a lot of things and next day you are asking you should be, make a councillor. This kind of thing does not work. You should be a real focus for, and council is not just one word, community service. It is many things on the policies and other things which Khansab had mentioned. Policies, how you are running non-profit organization. So you should know a lot of such things. These are in my opinion.
Okay. So now I'd like to end this particular session, but I've got one last question before I do that. It's about mixing religion in politics or religion in the council election, or fighting or trying to show their religious proximity and backing from religious institutions. How good or bad? So I'm not giving my opinion on this. I want your perspective. How good or bad? So starting with Arnav, what do you think?
Look, as I've said before, the local government elections or any elections should be done on merit and advocacy. Being belonging to a particular religion or a particular community group, you have other perspective, but that is just a perspective that you actually have as an individual. That should not be promoted as the only objective or only agenda. When you're working towards, when you're actually working to actually meet the needs of a broader community. So from my perspective, I actually say, not local elections, any elections in this country as an election to serve the people, to actually listen to their needs, to actually collaboratively with the council and other tiers of government contribute as much as you can. And that's how I see an election. So I prefer to be, I actually prefer not to be influenced by both of these while standing up or standing up for a cause, basically. And setting up elections is another way of me standing up for the root cause I believe in, that is serving the people, or facilitating the solutions for the potential issues residents are facing.
Thanks for that, Arnav. Neildhara, what do you say on this?
Yeah, sure. I don't believe in that as well. Politics or any work, local, federal or state, it's not connected. You can't just mix that thing. There's very different politics or very different things, and religious is very different things. You can't mix, or you can't get idea from here and put it there. It's not going to work, because you, as a councillor, I'm talking about the council. I'm for everyone, not for one region or not from one community member. This is that my slogan is many community, one voice. So many communities there, I will represent that as a one voice. So that's what I want to say in your question. Nothing more about it. I don't see any connection, and I don't think it's going to work anyway.
All right. So yeah, I need to now wind up this particular talk. So any last thing that you would like to add? Any of you or all of you, so before we leave, so it's your time to say anything about your candidature, about political perspective or anything. So I'll just give you 30 seconds each to wrap up your particular thing. So maybe we can just start with Arnav first and then move on to Neildhara, Manoj, and then Taj.
Look, I would actually like to basically take this platform, to request people, watching in Wyndham or people watching, in Sheffield Ward, let's make, pretty much, people who are actually from the Indian subcontinent, let's make this election about competency. Let's make this election about continuous advocacy. Let's make this election on merits rather than knowing someone as a friend or knowing someone from an organization. The reason is we need to set the benchmarks higher. The current benchmarks or standards actually are one of the reasons why everyone, every man with the dog actually stands in the local council elections, because people do vote in that manner, that you vote for a friend whom you actually haven't seen advocating for any damn thing. So we actually have to set up, the right benchmarks so that the next time a person thinks about standing in the elections, they should know that there's some bare minimum that the Indian community or Indian diaspora is actually expecting out of them. You just can't just stand out of a blue moon and say, hey, by the way, I'm actually, I actually have announced and I'm actually standing. So I think it's merit, continuous advocacy, and setting up the new benchmarks for which even the broader community can actually identify as saying, look, these guys are doing a fantastic job. Why not vote for them again and again?
Great. Thanks, Arnab. So, Neil, your wrap up.
Sure. As I'm running from City of Whitehorse Council, from Mahoney's ward, I'm going to stand for my community where I'm belonging here and my ward as well. And for people who want to run, I think we might get now we have experience, and especially Manoj and Intaji, they have so much experience. So I am telling that all the experienced person who already has so much things, the people who is coming just in 2 weeks, make sure that you ask them. You ask people who actually going through this, collect all the information, do some more work, and you can join. You can follow. It's not about my only thing. It's not about anyone else. You can do that, but there is a way to do, and you need to involve yourself a little bit more and understand a little bit more why you are standing, and do some more work, not just for 2 weeks. So anyone can come to the council, but if they are doing this right things. So please help each other as a candidate or as a experienced person. Please help community, but please help community to take the right decision and not just jump around everywhere.
Thanks for that, Neil. And Intaj, would you like to wrap up your thing?
Thank you, Vikrant. Look, I would say, I'm standing from Harrison Ward, and it's my 3rd term, and the work has been left which need to be finished, and 10% rate cuts for that every single Wyndham rate pays. This is my advocacy. If I get elected, I'll put motion, and I will try to work with my fellow councillors. Now, there's issues in the car parking. The issues are with the creating jobs. I think with my experience being in a business, and I see that now I can bring more to the table and change the landscape of the area. And council in difficult times such as COVID-19 have affected many small, medium, and large businesses. You make sure before you vote for someone who come from the same skills background, can contribute, and who have been running successful business and have experience. So think we all together make the things better for everyone. It's not about the person, it's about the policies. You must vote for policies, regardless of any race, religion. You must vote for the policies. Think before you vote about your own community. Thank you. Thank you, Vikrant.
Thanks, Intaj. And finally, Manoj.
From my side, I think I would like to say all the best and thank you to all the candidates who is willing to contest and has nominated. Best of luck to them, and stay safe, do the right things, and I think that will be the right things for the community. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you all so much. It was a really interesting discussion where you all really, discussed about your particular approach to the council election. It was very interesting to see the diverse kind of insight that you gave in, and some really good thinking behind your strategy as well as being reflected in this particular talk. So we wish you all the best, and I'll try to continue this panel discussion in different format as well, and later on. So I would invite you all there as well. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck.